Okay, so when you picture Spain, what comes to mind? I bet it's something like flamenco, sunny beaches, those Mediterranean vibes. But tucked away in the northwest corner, there's a region that feels like a totally different country. We're heading into the misty, green hills of Galicia, a land with a really ancient Celtic soul.
And that, right there, is the central mystery we're going to unravel. How on earth did this unique Celtic identity manage to hang on for over 2,500 years in a place so different from the rest of Spain? Well, the answer, it turns out, is literally etched into the landscape itself.
And this quote just nails it. Spend any time in Galicia, and you feel it immediately. That rugged Atlantic coast, the rolling green hills that are so often wrapped in mist, and then you hear it, the haunting sound of the gaita, which is a type of bagpipe. It all just creates this atmosphere that feels a million miles away from Madrid or Seville. To really understand Galicia's soul, we have to start with the structures that have been its anchor for centuries, these ancient hilltop forts known as castros.
So, this slide gets right to the point. The Galicia people who lived here way back when weren't just building defensive walls. No, they were creating the very foundation of their society. These were bustling hubs, filled with people who were experts in metalwork and farming. It was a place where every part of life, the spiritual, the social, was all woven together.
And that feeling is still there. These aren't just dead, dusty archaeological sites. They are places that are just buzzing with a sense of history. Seriously, to walk through a castro is to feel this direct line back to the people who lived and worshipped and defended their homes on that very same ground thousands of years ago.
So, here's the crucial thing to remember. The castros are so much more than stone ruins. As you can see here, in modern folklore, they're the stage for epic legends, the sites of ancient rituals, and even seen as a connection to the spirit world. They are these powerful symbols of a culture that just refused to disappear, the physical proof of Galicia's Celtic heartbeat.
And this connection to the past flows right into the spiritual side of things. The castros aren't just tied to human history. They're deeply woven into Galicia's rich tapestry of myths and supernatural lore.
And I love how this slide illustrates the two sides of that spiritual coin. On one hand, you've got these incredible legends of Celtic heroes, whose stories about defending their communities echo the whole original purpose of the castros. But then, on the other hand, you have tales of witches and spirits, representing this deep, persistent belief in the supernatural that is still celebrated in festivals today.
And ultimately, this is what makes these places so incredibly powerful. They're seen as these kinds of in-between spaces, Sacred ground where the veil between our world and the spirit world, between the ancient past and the living present, feels unbelievably thin.
Now, this deep-rooted identity wasn't just left alone. So how did it survive all this time? Let's take a quick look at Galicia's remarkable journey through a history of conquest and resistance.
This timeline tells such an incredible story of resilience. It all kicks off with the strong foundation of the Castro culture. Then, the Romans arrive, and they're the ones who give the region its name, Galicia. Fast forward to the 9th century, and boom, the discovery of St. James's tomb puts Galicia on the world map. But the journey wasn't always easy. After a big cultural revival in the 19th century, the language faced severe suppression under Franco's dictatorship, only to see this massive comeback with the arrival of democracy and autonomy.
And that's really the key takeaway from all this history. It doesn't matter who was in charge, Romans, Germanic tribes, or a 20th century dictator, the core of that local Celtic culture never truly went away. It just persisted, waiting for its moment to flourish again.
Which brings us to right now. Because this isn't just a story about the past. Galicia's ancient soul is a vibrant, living, breathing part of its modern identity. And you can see and hear it everywhere. The sound of the gaita is this powerful symbol of continuity, while the Galician language, Gallego, is spoken every single day. You've got festivals like the Fiesta de San Juan that connect modern communities to ancient pagan rituals. And of course, the culture is right there in its unique food, like the famous octopus dish and the world-renowned Camino de Santiago pilgrimage.
Now, to truly understand the Galician soul, you have to get this word, morinha. It's this bittersweet, really profound sense of longing for home. It perfectly captures the emotional landscape of a people with a long history of having to leave their homeland, but who have always kept this deep, unbreakable connection to their land.
And in the end, that's what makes Galicia so fascinating. It doesn't treat its heritage like some dusty museum piece. Instead, its ancient Celtic roots and its modern, evolving identity are just woven together, creating something truly unique in the heart of Spain. So we're left with this thought. In our globalized world where so many unique cultures seem to be fading, Galicia offers this powerful example of how an ancient heart can not only survive, but actually thrive. It really makes you wonder, what lessons can we learn from its incredible story of resilience, identity, and spirit?